ladies and gentlemen, Candace Owens. In my old Cosby sweater, I think. What the heck? She's blurred out her background the old-fashioned way with a good aperture and a focal length that's professional. And she's going to set us straight. 2 + 2 = 4, no matter who says it. All right. Well, I'm sure she won't be defending Hitler or anything.
But today I asked you the question.
Whoops.
If Adolf Hitler,
goddamn,
in a speech said,
oh God, right out of the gate,
2 + 2 = 4, would he have been correct?
Yes. Yeah. So what?
Ladies and gentlemen, the answer, of course, is no. He would have been wrong because he's Hitler. What's wrong with you? How dare you say that anything he said could have possibly been right? What are you?
He didn't say that. He repeated that. Okay, there's a difference between facts and opinion. And this idiot and people like her, and this includes all the other people we've been talking about today, repeating a fact, that 2 + 2 = 4, Hitler didn't come up with that. We don't have to trust that based on Hitler's opinion of other shit. This fallacy is the facts fallacy on people who are morally wrong happens all the fucking time. They do this, and this is how they defend Trump, because you guys just don't want to hear it because it came from him. He spouted facts, and you guys just can't deal. Like, no, he drew a conclusion that, for all practical purposes, is 2 + 2 = 5, and he's going to need to show his work if he's going to go against what we materially know to be true. Hitler did not say 2 + 2 = 4, and therefore that makes Hitler right. Hitler could repeat 2 + 2 = 4 and be correct in his repetition, but we're not trusting that 2 + 2 = 4 based on who says it. We can check for ourselves. This argument is fucking pathetic. Now, it'll probably be where she's shitting on trans activists or something who are trying to say men are men and boys and women is a word that means female and females or whatever or something. Who knows?
Anti-Semitic? Do you want Jewish people to die?
Is there how do you say straw man in German?
That kind of sort of embodies the sorts of discussions we have today where there's absolutely no nuance. Once we decide that an individual is a...
By the way, there is no nuance in 2 + 2 = 4. There's no nuance between an awful person or a good person saying 2 + 2 = 4. There is no nuance in that circumstance. That is simply a person stating a fact. The nuance is when they draw conclusions from 2 + 2 = 4, therefore those people gotta go.
A bad person, then everything that they've ever said or that they will say shouldn't even be examined. It's of course wrong. It's of course backwards. This person is bad or good. This person is an evil person or a loving person. Everything in our society is black and white.
No, it isn't.
In fact, I call this almost BLM syndrome. It's sort of...
Okay, so, and BLM is bad, just for the record. Just to be clear, everything's black and white in the society. You know, like Black Lives Matter, which is obviously bad.
It reminds me of when Black Lives Matter exploded onto the scene, or even the 2020...
You mean the phrase?
20 protests of George Floyd.
Right, which are different from the organization of Black Lives Matter.
God forbid any individual leaned in and said, hey, but wait a minute, I don't know about this organization, Black Lives Matter.
Bullshit. Bullshit. You could put hashtag Black Lives Matter on your tweets, and you could turn your icon black on Twitter, or say you support the idea of Black Lives Matter or the meaning of Black Lives Matter, which doesn't mean you either contributed to Black Lives Matter or believed it was an organization at all. Most people don't even know Black Lives Matter as an organization, but as a movement around the idea that if the phrase just simply means that all lives matter. It just seems like sometimes black lives don't. And so it might need saying that black lives matter too. And we just take the two off, which is what confuses most of the people who work at the Daily Wire. Black lives do matter. And the people are like, well, all lives matter. Yeah, it just, in certain cases, it seems that black lives don't. And so it's a reminder to include black lives in those all lives that matter, if you please. Thank you very much. Go fuck yourself.
If you said that at the time, which of course, as you guys know, I did, suddenly you would become public enemy number one, because how dare you?
Okay, she was never public enemy number one. She was just always kind of a right-wing gadfly. Also, if you question the organization, nobody gave a shit. If you question the idea that Black Lives Matter, I guess you would probably have a problem in the United States of America. I would hope you would have a problem. If you come out and went, Black lives don't matter, I would hope there would be some pushback in the bar. I don't wish violence on anyone, per se, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Exercise any nuance. Of course, Black Lives Matter is good, and if you disagree with Black Lives Mattering, then it's because you're a racist.
All right, that didn't mean that literally didn't actually mean anything. There were so many inverted sentence structures in there that it is devoid of meaning.
Right? You're just a bad person. How dare you even ask a question? So what? We don't know where all the money is going, and it appears to be into a black hole.
Why has it got to be a black hole? First of all, again, most people don't even think of Black Lives Matter as an organization. They think of it as a movement. And if you question where somebody who takes a movement and spends its money, nobody has a problem with that. Me Too ran into the same fucking problem. Me Too was a hashtag. It was a movement. You didn't have to fucking show up at meetings or join something to understand that it meant that you should listen. That the believe all women part was literally like I would call it like brand sabotage. It was listen to all women. If a victim comes forward, listen to her. That doesn't mean you believe everything you're told, but you give them the space to tell them the whole story instead of dismissing it out of hand after they've said 4 or 5 sentences or cutting them off or inserting your own narrative into it. That was the point. And so Me Too is other people standing up saying, I went through a similar thing. There's a Me Too movement, and then there's the Me Too organization, or Time's Up specifically, that was known as the Me Too organization. There was all kinds of shenanigans going on in their inner working, and they ultimately fell apart. But it doesn't tarnish the idea that people need to listen to women who've been, who allege sexual assault. The same thing is true about Black Lives Matter. Just because there's an organization, Black Lives Matter, does not mean that everybody who uses the phrase Black Lives Matter in their as a hashtag in their social media or puts it in their fucking store window is paying protection money. This is so fucking dumb and litigated.
So I was thinking about that because I am so...
Hal, she and other ignorant people believe Black Lives Matter is anti-white. Yeah, but they believe the organization is anti-white and Marxist and all that kind of stuff because they've written it into their little code or whatever. Has nothing to do with the rest of people in the country of all colors, that occur in the human spectrum. I'm not in on this pinstripe bullshit. Polka dot, as Diamond and Silk say. Everybody involved in those type of things has nothing to do with the organization itself. Now, corporations gave it to Black Lives Matter as a front for organizing protests and organizing training for people and blah, blah, blah. That's a corporate decision to go, we got to do something. Instead of dedicating money to multiple sources, it was easier for them to go, we gave it to Black Lives Matter. That's the birth of the grift. Happens all the time when people create fake charities around important issues. It doesn't mean the issue isn't important anymore.
Routinely frustrated by our inability to have any nuance. I'm so frustrated.
By the way, can I just say there was a shit ton of nuance in what I just said. In my description of what I just talked about, did I not stack nuance like cordwood? Maybe it isn't that you can't, there's no room for nuance. Maybe it's because the right has such a shitty vocabulary and such a deep and long-suffering mean streak that they can't fucking talk without hurting someone because that's their idea of winning in an argument or a conversation. Unless someone comes away with a scar, you didn't win the argument. That's the right's problem. Maybe, just maybe, this is a serious issue with many layers and lots of nuance. And you and your fellow compatriots at the Daily Wire and at the Caller and in where the fuck Ben Shapiro bumfuck land everybody seems to hump out and go to the same bar. Maybe it's not the issue. Maybe it's not the public. Maybe it's not the lack of nuance that exists in conversations. Maybe it's you. Maybe you're just too fucking dumb for this important a conversation. Maybe you're the wrong hands. Maybe when you run up against a wall and you're like, God, I can't even say anything. Maybe it's because you don't know how to speak. You're a one-trick pony emotionally and psychologically. Maybe that's the problem. Does that ever occur to any of these fuckers? This is the same mentality that creates the ugly American tourist that we were always worried about. You know, people in France going, French fries. What the fuck is the matter with these people? Right? That's what you're doing. There's like no nuance. I tell them I want to see a menu and they just start bringing food to the fucking table. Learn the fucking language. Hi, Chud. Chud's under the door. I think she wants a ride upstairs. And I got to cut out in a second. I'm going to do one second, Chud.
That every time I try to explore a comment or an organization, when it's trending and it's trendy to love that organization or to...
Maybe you're not exploring it. Maybe you're shitting on it. And maybe you're a reactionary asshole. And that's how people are reacting to your reaction. Because they've got the right read on you. Is there any fucking self-reflection in this group?
Love that individual. I am always hitting the media, right?
Boo fuckity who. All right, I got to go. I don't have time to do this whole thing. I got a cat that needs a ride upstairs. I got to throw on some clothes, and I got a 3-hour drive ahead of me to go do sound check for a Nerd Halen show because I got other talents. I'm a young man. I've got prospects. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for your support. Thank you for playing along as I did the show early today. If you're watching this later, I'm sorry you couldn't be part of the chat.